Divorce, dissolution of marriage. The rate of divorce in the world today is very high and alarming. This is Mrs. Ede and the marriage counselor. She came with her husband to tell their marriage counselor about their decision to ask for divorce. The marriage counselor gave her an exercise book to write out 3 good reasons why she wants to divorce her husband. The counselor handed the book and the pen over to her. Mrs. Ede collected the paper looking troubled because that was not what she was expecting from the counselor, but she has to follow the instruction of the counselor. She started her assignment by recalling the past incident between her and her husband, Mr. Ede. One day her husband, Mr. Ede, was answering a call from a stranger and he was hiding from his wife. He went down the staircase through the back for him not to be seen or heard by anybody, but unfortunately his wife followed him unknowingly to him. She heard every of his discussion with a strange woman. She left after some seconds without a word. She wrote down the incident as number 1 reason she was asking for divorce. She needed to provide a good reason, and she recalled when she was cleaning the house and found something strange in the house. She found another woman's property. She found earrings under the bed. As long as the earrings does not belong to her, it can only mean one thing. It means that another woman came into their bedroom and undressed. She carried the earrings to her husband to ask him who owns it. She dropped them on the table, expecting the husband to start explaining to her how the earrings entered their room. He was staring when his wife started scolding and asking questions. She asked to know if she has done bad to have accepted to marry Mr. Ede. Mr. Ede, her husband, denied everything. He lied by not accepting that he knew the owner of the earring. He told his wife to go and add the earrings to her jewelry box and stop asking who owns what belongs to her. Mrs. Ede insisted because she knew and was very sure of what she was saying. That was point 2 for her. She penned them down accordingly. She was writing with all assurance that the counselor will see reasons with her as a woman. After writing the second point down, she remembered another heartbreaking incident that has taken place severally. According to her, even if her first 2 points have no weight enough to ask for divorce, the last point will be enough reason and a very good reason to divorce your spouse. She found a pack of condom in her husband's chest pocket. She dropped it on the table and was very mad. The husband asked to know what the pack of condom was doing in his house, pretending to have no knowledge of how it came into the house. The wife was almost going insane on account of that. Mr. Ede has to configure a well-polished lies, but his wife still did not believe in his lies. She told him that he has done the worst, that she can no longer continue in that marriage. She asked for divorce immediately so that he would be free to go about with his side chicks. She left the scene immediately to call their marriage counselor on the phone. Her anger grew after recalling the last incident which made her feel cheated on. She said that even the Bible supported a divorce when a partner is found cheating on his partner. At this point, her anger and willingness to get a divorce has grown very big. After writing her last point, she called the attention of the counselor and handed the paper over to her. The marriage counselor collected the paper from her and glanced through it. After briefly going through Mrs. Ede's report, she asked her to wait outside and call the husband to come inside. The counselor asked Mr. Ede some questions to understand if he really wanted to allow the divorce. Mr. Ede replied her without hesitation. He said that he wants to separate from his wife, that he is tired of the whole thing, that marrying her was just a mistake. The counselor handed a paper and a pen over to him to write out 3 problems in the marriage that made him want to separate from his wife. Mr. Ede remembered his wife's bad side too. One day, Mr. Ede took his wife out on a date, but something happened. He was busy telling his wife some funny stories, but at a point, the wife stopped concentrating. The husband didn't take notice of her not concentrating in time until at a certain point, he looked at her and discovered that all her attention was on her phone. He tapped on the table to call back her attention. She shuddered, and the husband snatched the phone from her to see that her attention was focused on another man on her phone. The man happened to be her ex-boyfriend. Mr. Ede hurriedly wrote down the point and turned after that to think of another witty point to prove that his wife was not a wife material. Mr. Ede remembered when he found his wife's result after she had terminated a pregnancy simply because she was not ready to welcome a baby. She did that without letting her husband know about that. Mr. Ede was mad because of that. He was because after that his wife has never been able to conceive again. He told her that he cannot marry his fellow man and keep in the house, calling him a wife. A wife that cannot conceive is a man and no longer a woman. He hurriedly wrote down the point too. For the last time, he remembered another incident that took place not long ago. In his remembrance, we saw his wife coming out of the house with a young man. They looked happy and were discussing like best of friends. When this was happening, the husband was not around. He went out, but he came back before the man could leave the house. On seeing the husband, the young man with a cheerful face greeted him and told him that he was about going, but thank God he came back. He said that he has been waiting to meet him for the first time after his marriage with his cousin sister. All the explanation meant nothing to Mr. Ede because he considered them lies. He ignored them and went inside. The young man was confused and asked to know what was going on, but the wife pretended by telling him that her husband had a bad day. He should not worry. This has been the paramount reason he wanted to divorce his wife. He hurriedly detailed the situation in his paper because he said that the wife he married was bringing in men into their matrimonial home in the name of family members. He handed the paper over to the counselor after that. No one can convince Mr. Ede to do otherwise. All he wanted was a divorce. After the exercise of writing out their reasons for asking for divorce, the counselor called both of them to come inside and sit before her. Mrs. Ede came in before the husband and sat down, followed by the husband, who came in and also sat beside the wife on the seat provided. Both of them were looking away from each other in an unfriendly manner. The marriage counselor started by telling them that she has gone through their reasons and will want them to go and come back again after 24 hours. She brought out a flash drive containing a short film. She told them to take it home and watch the content together. She told them to make sure that both of them watch it together. She covered the drive and handed it over to Mr. Ede, who collected it, and in them you will see the desire to see what is inside. After that, they left the counselor's office. Like I said before, divorce, dissolution of marriage. I want to ask us, what can possibly break a marriage after 2 months of marriage or less than 6 months of marriage? And this marriage is likely to have taken place after being together as friends for over 5 to 10 years. What do you think that can lead to this? Mr. and Mrs. Ede have given their own reason for asking for divorce. Do you think that they have good reasons, or what do you advise them to do in this matter? Let me hear your own judgment, and please share this video for others to learn too. We are coming up next Friday with the counselor's judgment. Please stay with us. Please share this video now.